we now know is that the initial Army investigation report has a claim from Bergdahl. It may be the beginning of his defense that he intended not to desert, but he was going to walk to the nearest military outpost in Afghanistan. Remember, this is insurgent territory back in July 2009. He was going to walk to the nearest outpost to report what he believed was wrongdoing, poor leadership, order and discipline problems at his base, that he didn't feel he could stay and report it at his base, perhaps not trusting the leadership there.
CNN Pentagon correspondent Barbara Starr on Bowe Bergdahl's potential defense strategy. With Miranda Kahn, J.D. Hayworth welcoming you into our second hour of America's Forum. Joining us now to go in depth, former Army Ranger Nicholas Irving, who is the author of the book The Reaper, the autobiography of one of the deadliest special ops snipers. There's a good look at the book cover, and now we'll have Nick Skyping in from San Antonio, Texas. Nicholas, we appreciate your time and just want to get your insights on this story making headlines. What do you make of this defense by Bergdahl that he left his post to report wrongdoing in his own unit?
I think it's a complete lie. The fact that he walked out into enemy territory, especially in 2009, I was deployed at that time. Afghanistan was a really rough place, and to walk off base with no weapon, no military gear, to go inform someone, it sounds like a complete lie, especially the fact we have, telephones nowadays.
Bergdahl could face life in prison if convicted. Some people are questioning because there were 6 soldiers that went out looking for him, that he should also face potential murder charges for their deaths, that he's somehow responsible. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree 100%. I think that personally, I think he should face the death penalty. You're looking at 6 soldiers who lost their lives. Many more are wounded soldiers as well. If we can't pursue the death penalty, then how about we get that money back from Bowe Bergdahl that was presented to him for his back pay and give it to the families of the soldiers who were killed?
Now, Nicholas, there's another development, call it the changing face of warfare in this information age. The Army issuing security warnings to service members after, you'll recall, what was this last week? ISA posted the alleged names and addresses of military personnel. ISIS urging supporters in this country to kill those members of the military. In your mind, Nicholas, what can be done by military families to stay safe?
Security, just regular personal security and personal, just operational security as well. Decrease your footprint on social media. If you do have, for a guy like me, if I didn't have a family, I wouldn't be too concerned about it. I think I'm pretty good at defending myself, but I take it with a grain of salt. I don't think that these guys are really out there they're gonna pursue this action. We're talking about guys who have been, deployed and fighting this war for over past 10 years now. We're used to it. Not really too concerned about what ISIS has to say. If we want to actually, pursue or do anything about it, we can actually put out a hit list on ISIS. Let's start putting bullets in those guys.
Nicholas, I want to get your thoughts. What do you think of the Obama administration and how they've been handling the VA, military personnel, just their overall insight into everything? Do you think that they're protecting you enough?
As far as the VA is concerned, medically?
Yeah. Is enough being done for military families, in other words?
No, I don't. There's a lot of controversy regarding the VA. We have, people putting up posts about the 22 vets a day and making fun of those guys, 22 vets a day killing themselves. I don't think that enough is being done with the VA right now. I think we need to clean house and pursue a different avenue, get new staff. Really look into this whole controversy with the VA. I don't think enough is really being done, especially the fact that you still have guys waiting 9 months to a year to seek, to get medical help or attention.
We've got about a minute left in this segment, Nicholas, and I really am curious, since you've gone out there with a book and your name is out there and your position as a sniper is out there. You were talking earlier about security. Really, in your mind, you don't stay awake at night worried about ISIS folks coming after you or your family?
No, I don't. I still sleep on the right side of my bed every night peacefully. I'm not really too concerned about it. If anybody or if ISIS did want to pursue that and come after me, I think I'm pretty well trained and armed to defend myself. I have a lot of security measures that I have in my house as well. 2 attack German Shepherds, security cameras, heat sensor cameras, motion sensors, and a few weapons. I'm pretty well off on my end.
Well, suffice it to say, you certainly have been security-minded since getting home, perhaps out of necessity, given the occupation you held and what you write about. And when we come back, we're going to talk more with Nicholas about his book and about current affairs and the waging of war in the 21st century. Stay with us on America's Forum. Back now on America's Forum to continue our conversation with Nicholas Irving, former Army Ranger and author of the book, The Reaper, autobiography of one of the deadliest special ops snipers. Nicholas, I promise we're going to get to the book, but there is one story in the news where I'd really like to get your input. This action taken by the government, Operation Choke Point, where legitimate businesses such as gun dealers and those who supply ammunition to the U.S. military are being turned away by banks because of federal pressure. Do you believe the current administration is hostile to the Second Amendment?
I do. I remember the ban not too long ago they were trying to present as far as banning the green tip 5.56 or .223 caliber ammunition. I remember that and trying to get rid of the not fully automatic, but the semi-automatic assault rifles. I own a few of them. I really do think that the administration is harmful to our Second Amendment.
Now we want to get to you and your personal story. What was it like to be the first African American to serve as a sniper in your battalion?
As far as the global war on terrorism, to be the first African American, it doesn't feel like anything. None of the guys made a big deal about it. I didn't make a big deal about it. I was there for my guys, my brothers, and I look at those guys like my brothers. I would, lay my life down for those guys, and I'm sure they would do the same.
Nicholas, you became known as the Reaper by the end of your active service. 33 kills over a 4-month period. You even have an AR-15 rifle named after you. Your feelings on being remembered in this way?
I'm not sure what to really feel about it necessarily. I think it's one of those things that I can mark off in my personal, life book and look back 50 years from now and say, wow, that was a pretty cool experience. As of right now, I'm not really sure what to think about it. I think it's a cool gesture. I'm proud of what I've done, and I would go back and do it all over again if I had a chance.
What made you want to join the military?
A lot of Charlie Sheen and Chuck Norris movies.
I wasn't expecting that response. Let's talk about your book a little bit, because I want to read how someone described it. Describing your writing, he says, he brings the reader to the front line of battle while allowing the reader to experience the human condition and frailty one deals with such a deadly environment. What inspired you to write this book?
Therapy. I was going through a lot of hard times. As soon as I got out in 2010, I contracted for different agencies or government entities, and after 2011 is when I started to really go through really hard times, and I decided it was going to be more of a therapy for me to write the book. And when I sat down and started to write the book on my own, I wanted to put the reader in my position or my shoes so they can get a feel of what it's like to serve in combat, not necessarily take a human life. I wasn't trying to really portray that, but just the feel of being in combat and waking up every day thinking that you might die, may not come back home to your family.
Well, you cited something here that we have to ask you about, the notion of taking a human life, making 33 kills. How have you come to grips with that?
I was 23 at the time, and that was over a span of 4 months. But prior to that, I deployed five times, and each deployment, except for one, I was engaged in some pretty heavy combat where I had to take a life. I was 18 when I first took a life, and that impacted me, I guess, pretty significantly, the first one when I was 18. But after that, I never really thought too much about it. It was more or less of a job for me. It wasn't one thing that I, dwelled on too much. It was just a job. I wanted to make it back home, and if, taking a life, so, one of my brothers, their mom would not have to present a folded flag because her son died, I was okay with that.
You served in Afghanistan, specifically Kandahar. How has this experience changed you?
It's made me a tougher individual, I think, mentally and emotionally. It really hasn't changed me too much in a negative way. I just look at things in a different perspective. I don't take, things for granted, especially life. Anything could happen. I live it, second by second, not just day by day.
We have about a minute left, and inevitably, you knew this question would come, Nicholas Irving. Chris Kyle, all the attention given to American Sniper. Did you have any contact with the late Chris Kyle, or what's your take on all the interest surrounding his story now?
I talked to him in Vegas during a SHOT Show. I heard about him overseas a few times. I thought it was more of a myth. I had no idea that this guy was, a real human being. I think the attention, it is good. It goes to show that America's support for the troops, it's not just bumper sticker deep. They actually do care and want to hear our story. I think it's pretty neat. It's one of those things where this is our generation's Vietnam. It's the longest war in U.S. history. I think it's one of those things that has to be told, and people want to, hear about it and learn more about this generation.
And Nicholas Irving, you tell about it in your book, The Reaper, the autobiography of one of the deadliest special ops snipers. Nick, we thank you very much for your time and your insights. And yes, absolutely, your service. Good to visit with Nicholas, and we hope to have him back sometime soon. We hope you'll come back after this, as America's Forum continues on Newsmax TV.